like this video and check out my other videos too, all about vintage fashion and sustainable living. So today I decided why not share with you guys how I cut my hair. Now I cut my hair for many reasons, one being cost. I can't get over the price it is to cut one's hair especially women's hair. And also the fact that I've never been able to find a hairdresser that gets my style that I'm after quite right. There are a couple of like vintage inspired hairdressers around some cities and things like that, but I just haven't had luck finding somebody close to me that does the vintage style quite well. So I thought, why not? I'm going to look at good old YouTube, find a method and see if I can try that out. So I've tried out a fantastic video by another YouTube creator and vintage loving human. You can find it here, and it's more of a Marilyn Monroe style where it's quite short and fluffy. Now I've grown my hair out for about a month now and I'm actually really loving this length. I find I can do finger waves, 40s, victory rolls, and I can also do this good old sort of fluffy sort of everyday look. This is a day of having my hair like this a whole day, so it's actually held up pretty nicely, which is really good. And I didn't actually put much setting spray in when I did this set as well. And recently I've just sort of sculpted my fringe to be a bit shorter so that it does give that little like cute little flick naturally, rather than having to like tease it up and pin it. So I want to show you guys the length and the different sort of pattern I use to cut my hair. I don't recommend cutting hair for everyone. If you're not confident or you're too scared, it's totally understandable, but I just found something that works for me, and I'm actually quite proud that I can cut my own hair and that doesn't actually look terrible. Having it out straight looks completely different and edgy as well, which is kind of cool because it gives me like a dual personality. But anyway, let's get into it. So what do you need? You need not your sewing scissors like I did maybe once. So we're back, outfit change, hair nicely freshly washed, and we're ready to get into this. So where to begin? What you're going to need is a ruler, fine tooth comb, some hair scissors, not sewing scissors like I may have done previously, whoopsies, and some clips of some sort to section your hair. I'm just using these pin curl clip thingies, and a spray bottle too if your hair's dry. You might want it to wet it a bit to help with the grip and to cut it. So the tutorial I watched was fantastic because it is quite straightforward and simple. There's only 2 measurements required to cut your hair. So it was the shorter lengths at the back and then the front sort of fringe section a longer length. So I end up measuring them on the ruler to cut the hair to make it easier to do that process. Now with this sort of style, it is very much short at the front and then curls longer at the back. Kind of like a mullet in a way, but that's how vintage stylists tend to be done. It was very much a horseshoe shape to get that really nice, short sort of curls that softly floated around the neck. So this sort of style is the short hair, kind of like that Marilyn Monroe look, Italian, I think it's called like an Italian haircut they did in the 50s, very short and fluffy. Now I've grown mine out for about a month and I'm really liking the length. It's a bit longer than when I originally cut it, so I'm going to go through the process with you today and show you how long it is at the moment for this sort of length and style. Now it all depends on your preference of how you like to style your hair, whether you like super short or you like a bit longer. And yes, it can be daunting to cut hair, but I'm kind of the attitude of wait or grow back. So it's not for everyone, but it is such a simple process because with the 2 measurements, you've got a measurement here and you just kind of like cut as you go around sort of your head. So essentially you're not having to cut individual layers, which is really kind of good because it will just naturally fall once you cut it that sort of length. So I found it quite easy. It's just 2 measurements, quite a simple process. So let's get into it and I'll show you how I do it and how it's done. So number 1, kind of have to section the hair off. I don't have that section is done. So I'm going to pin that up like that. Now, the measurement she did in the the tutorial was the shorter lengths were 4.5 inches, which is about 11 and a bit, which I put on my ruler here. And then the fringe section was about 5.5 inches, which is about 14 in a bit. So I found that to be super short, so I'm going to show you my lengths that I prefer. It's nearly about 5.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is about 5 inches at the back, and then the front I'll keep about maybe 6 inches. So what you do, grab a piece of hair and get started. So if your hair's dry, maybe sprinkle a bit of water on it. But basically, you put up the ruler to your head, you look very fashionable, and you identify where that is on the thing. So, such an awkward thing to videotape. So, about there. So I need to cut about that much hair off. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go a bit further along so I can catch that hair. Like that. And then I'm going to pop that in a container, which I didn't get. Whoopsies. Don't forget you can compost your hair too, because hair is compostable. Got a container this time, I sorted. Right, hopefully this works, and I apologise because it is such a super awkward thing to film. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this side, grab our ruler, and we're gonna measure. Yep, that's definitely. And then you're gonna repeat that process. And the thing is, you'll know which pieces you do, because once you pick it up to measure, you'll notice, oh yeah, that's already at that length. So you'll just easily know, and you'll just go, okay, well that's what I'm, see how like that's already at the length, so it's just falling away. Now I hold my finger like that, the stuff that's no longer needed, so that way I can catch it and put it straight in the container. And as I said before, hair is compostable, so you can put it straight in the compost. Now, you just continue to be a mad person, and you just go around your entire head. And yes, you build some arm muscles at the same time. So that's looking, helps you have it all the right way. But as I said, like, hair grows back. You'll be okay. And sometimes we go through weird hair phases and we want to try new things. So just kind of work out what works for you and happily cut away. Done all that, it's time to start on the front. So I'm going to grab a few pins. The back is normally 4.5 inches. You can see that. But this time I've decided to keep it at 5. And then for my fringe, I'm just going to do it about up here. So a bit longer than what I just cut the back. But as I said, like, I cut my fringe the other day just randomly, because I'm like, it'll grow back. So it's quite a bit short at the moment. And I'm okay with that, because I'm into short fringes at the moment. Like, I don't want a full-on fringe. But I have such thick hair, and I find if it is a bit longer and it's thicker, it kind of just doesn't sit nicely. So I cut a bit of a shorter, thinner fringe, so it will curl nicely and just sort of sit there. But I will continue to do this to make sure it is all even. Pick my ruler. Just do what works for you, because if you want it shorter, you cut it shorter, and then make sure that your fringe is a bit longer. So as you can see, we're getting a bit like the horseshoe waterfall sort of effect with the layers. So when it does curl, you get a nice framey around your face. I just tend to tighten up and make sure that I'm okay with what I've done. As you see, it's very shaggy, very jagged. Feels a lot better. And I think once that dries, I'll be ready to roll, put some setting spray in, and I'll show you what it looks like once it is cut to this sort of length and style, and what the outcome is. So it is very straightforward. Just need your two measurements to go around your head. Your front is the longer one, and then your back is the shorter one. So it is quite simple. So I hope you find this interesting, and let's set this hair and see what it looks like. Did my hair the night before. Let's see how the curls have turned out and how the styling of the way I cut it is shaped once it is curled. So I just use good old bendy rolls, which I found at Kmart. These ones are starting to get a bit tiresome and the wire is starting to go, so might be time to upgrade. But let's see how it goes. Okay, so this is what the curls look like. They're quite tight sort of ringlets, as you can see, and I just gently put my fingers through to break up the curls. Kind of look like a nutty professor with all the curls everywhere. A little bit wet, I want to sit. I style my hair a bit differently to traditional methods, I suppose, because when you look up like pin-up hair and vintage hair, how people do it, they tend to have like the do a lot of teasing and stuff like that. Because I have so much hair, I don't really tease much. I prefer more like a slick back with the curls around the back of my neck, and so I just use a good old brush to brush through them and then shape them. So I kind of use the same brush to brush them out and shape them. So let's shape this lovely hair. As I am an eco girly, I have a baby brush. Probably like leave it fluffy at the back if you wanted to, like loose and fluffy. And this is like with this length of hair, you can then like, you can still do like your curl comb backs like a 1940s style. You can still do enough volume for finger waves, and then you can also do like page boys. You can do page boys. You can do the general like fluffy sort of thing. So it's not like in the tutorial I shared, it was more that cutting and that shortness was more of a Marilyn Monroe style, where it was very short, very fluffy at the back, and just sort of like you tease it and you style it as you like. With this sort of mid cut, I suppose you could call it, that I prefer, it's a bit longer, and I like to do the traditional sort of curls at the back, or the page boy, those sort of styling that was around the 40s and 50s. So not so much like fluffy from the top of my head down. I kind of keep that side smooth and then do the fluff. But again, like, it's up to you. It's your preference and your style and how you like to style your hair. But I'm just showing you that with this length, you can pretty much do anything that you like, and it's still a manageable length to do multiple types. You're not sort of stuck in one set style and structure of your hair that you've got to continue styling it that way. So with this length, you can do multiple things, and you can do whatever theme or style that you prefer when you prefer. So generally day to day, I tend to wear it like this sort of fluffy down curls, and then if I'm going for more 40s, I do my victory rolls and stuff. So yeah, it's a very versatile haircut, I suppose you could call it. So I'm gonna finalize this mess, and I'll show you the fringe. Most people like to tease it so that it sits up, but I find because of my hair and the way I've cut this, I just tend to do this, and I kind of like to see it just automatically sort of sits up, which is really nice. And then I kind of just pin it however I desire. Maybe I'll do a victory roll, depends on what I'm feeling. So that's very basic, luminous. I say it's well behaved and now it's not being well behaved. Anyway, you get the gist. Because I freshly washed my hair too, my hair is a bit, like the curls are a lot softer than they would normally be because I don't have enough grease and grit in them at the moment because it is so freshly washed. That will have to do, that will have to do. But that's pretty much it. So it kind of looks like that. My hair was a bit wet when I set it, so it didn't set completely. But you can kind of get the gist of what it looks like once set. So voila! Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe inspired you and encouraged you, I suppose I could say, like reassured you it's okay to cut your own hair, it will grow back. And with this method it's quite easy, just 2 measurements and you cut it how you would like it with the lengthwise. So yeah, I hope you found it interesting. And that's it for me. No video next week as it is Easter, so if you do celebrate Easter, have a wonderful weekend with family and friends. And I will see you the week after. And again, please like and subscribe, and if you have any topics that you'd like me to discuss or want to get to know me more, please let me know, and I'm always up for topic suggestions, so please comment, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. Look at that, my hair at the back. Oh my goodness, these didn't curl. It's normally not like that, but because it was wet when I, slightly too damp I should say, when I curled it, I have these little antennas. It's not normally like this, guys. Once properly curled, it will sit nicely. It's just really hard with freshly washed hair. But anyway, I hope you found it useful, helpful.